For centuries, the Guatemalan jungle shrouded the remains of the ancient Maya civilization. But now, using lasers and drones, scientists have uncovered a secret beneath the canopy, a Mayan megalopolis. More than 60,000 previously unknown Mayan structures hidden by the rainforest.
Mayan tombs scare me. Why? Well, how about strange bodies sitting in chairs, a serpent dynasty, and literal underwater graveyards filled with human sacrifices? Yeah, the Mayans went wild. And these are some of the mild ones. Let me show you literal horror movie stuff that archaeologists found in Mayan tombs.
And from this human remains, we know for a fact that these human remains that were found in the cenote were not brutally murdered.
Yeah, we have no evidence of any kind of acts of violence like that.
The tomb of the Red Queen is a real mystery that shocked scientists upon its discovery. Found in the city of Palenque, this tomb is one of the many significant findings in the ruins, including the tomb of Tikal, a major king of ancient Maya, whom I will discuss pretty soon. Back to the Red Queen. Why the name, you may ask? Let me assure you, this noble woman is called Red for a good reason. You see, the skeleton of the Red Queen is dark red in color, as if coated in fresh blood. Of course, it isn't actually blood. Instead, what we have here is a red powder that is super deadly. But before I explain what this substance is, let me first talk about the grisly discovery of the tomb. When the archaeologists first opened the tomb, they found two skeletons in the chamber. One of a boy around 11 to 12 years of age, and the other of a woman in her 30s. There was evidence of cuts and blows like injuries on both skeletons, from which it was determined these poor souls were sacrifices to accompany the Red Queen. The archaeologists then moved on to the sarcophagus in the tomb. Made out of a single block of granite, it was once painted red, but now had lost its color. Once the lid was lifted, the red skeleton finally saw the light of day. The skeleton had been covered completely in mercuric sulfide, which gave it the red color. Why the Red Queen was covered with this material is a mystery. Alongside the skeleton, the sarcophagus also contained a malachite funerary mask, which had shattered to pieces with the passage of time. While it is not yet confirmed with solid evidence, many scientists theorize the Red Queen may have been the wife of Tikal, a major king of the Mayans. And the discoveries in his tomb are just as interesting. Tikal's tomb is better known as the Temple of Inscriptions. It is the largest stepped pyramid in Palenque, and it holds the body of King Tikal, who built the structure during his own lifetime. King Tikal was a very important king of ancient Maya who came to the throne of Palenque and built up the nearly destroyed city to its peak. When archaeologists discovered the pyramid, it was mostly buried in dirt, and soon after, they found the entrance to Tikal's tomb. A stairway was cleared, and at the bottom was a passageway leading to the tomb. As is usual with Mayan royalty, there were human sacrifices in there. Archaeologists found 5 skeletons in a total of sacrificial victims, both male and female. And in the middle of the room lay the most important part of the tomb, the sarcophagus. The womb-shaped sarcophagus inside had an intricately carved lid made of a single stone. This will end up being one of the most impressive and valuable examples of Mayan art ever discovered to date. It shows the rebirth of Tikal, with the sides narrating his life and his forebearers. Here is the weird part. The sarcophagus weighs 7 tons, and it was too big to be moved down the stairs of the tomb. So how was it put in there? Well, one theory is that the tomb and sarcophagus were built first, and the whole pyramid was later built on top of it. But who can know for sure? There is one more super interesting and incidentally very valuable discovery from Tikal's tomb. And that is his death mask. The mask is made entirely of jade, and the eyes are made of obsidian, mother of pearls, and shells. The mask was accompanied by several other valuable pieces of jewelry and several other smaller masks. Creepy and fascinating at the same time. But not nearly as creepy as what I have for you next. Okay, so get ready, because this is not for the faint-hearted. the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico is littered with cenotes, which are basically water-filled caves. While most of these cenotes just hold water, the ones found near Mayan cities and temples hold something more sinister. You see, for the Mayans, human sacrifices were super important. And they also happened to consider some of these cenotes holy, some seen as an entrance to the Mayan underworld. So naturally, Mayans would throw their sacrifices into these cenotes, which often happen to be humans. As a result, you can find tons of skeletal remains in these cenotes. Scuba divers have found over 200 skeletons in this cenote, half of which were kids aged 4 to 6. They also found many adult male skeletons and several female ones, but in less quantity than the males. And if you think these people were simply drowned, well, sorry to break your bubble, because Mayans were not that nice. Nearly all the skeletons showed signs of mutilation one way or the other. Holes in the skulls, flaying, impalement, and skinning are just some of the ways these sacrifices were made to suffer. Many were even publicly displayed for a long time before being thrown into the cenote. And this was not just a one-time sacrifice. Nope. These sacrifices were made over hundreds of years during Mayan rule. Man, those people were brutal. With such a bloody history behind it, this cenote is a source of fear for the locals. They don't drink from it, and they never let their kids near it. Can't blame them, to be honest. Would you visit this ancient underwater graveyard? I know I wouldn't. Speaking of Mayan sites I will never visit, this cave is the same. This is the Acton Tunikil Muknal, which is also known as the Cave of Sacrifices. As you can guess from the name, this is another one of the places where the Mayans sacrificed people. And boy, is it terrifying. The cave holds 14 skeletons in total, all sacrifices by the Mayans, with some being complete and others just being skulls or a few bones. As if that is not bad enough, hear this. The Mayans intentionally created stone formations in this cave that look like humans, animals, and some that create a shadow of an animal or human when lit just right. They even made altars in there for good measure. The upper passages to the cave are where you find most of these works of morbid art. Back to the skeletons. Let me tell you about the most famous one in this cave. Here is the Crystal Maiden. Now that name is a throw-off because this skeleton is actually of a boy around 17 years old. The bones have calcified in a unique way that makes it seem like the whole thing is made up of crystals. Spooky, am I right? To add to the horror, whenever it rains, parts of the cave get closed off as the water level rises. So there is potentially a chance visitors can get stuck inside. Aside from the skeletons, there are also tons of artifacts in this cave. But are they nearly as much as this next cave I am about to show you? You decide. Deep under the ruins of the famous Mayan site Chichen Itza, archaeologists have found a treasure trove of Mayan artifacts like no other. The cave is located 24 meters below the surface, and as you can see, it is super difficult to get to. There are really narrow passageways that one needs to traverse in order to progress further into the sections that hold the artifacts. According to archaeologists, these artifacts date back to 1000 AD, and they number in the hundreds, making it one of the largest collections of Mayan artifacts ever found to date. The ancient Mayans traversed through these difficult caves, probably in pitch dark or with a torch in hand, just to put these artifacts deep within the bowels of the earth. And that begs the question, why? No one is sure what the answer to that question is. Perhaps they were hiding these treasures? After all, the entrance was sealed shut with stones. Whatever the reason, this is a historical find since these artifacts are in excellent condition and they will help scientists better understand the life and culture of the inhabitants of Chichen Itza. Our journey through Mayan bodies in caves does not stop here though. Check out this next find. In the Puyol Cave in Mexico, archaeologists came across something very strange. They found 3 skeletons, which by Mayan standards is not something super out of place. But when the scientists dated these skeletons, they found something odd. While 2 of the skeletons were 4,000 years old, right around the time Mayans were around, the 3rd skeleton was 7,000 years old. That was around the time humans were moving on from hunting to sedentism. So this one skeleton has been in the cave for 3,000 more years than the other 2. Turns out, the cave was used as a way to dispose of the body of the ancient man. And then the Mayans found the remains inside the cave, understood it to be their ancestor, and placed 2 of their own dead inside as a mark of respect. How fascinating is that? Copan is one of the most important ancient Mayan sites around. It was ruled on by Mayans for 2,000 years before being abandoned. Why? No one can say for certain. But these ruins do hide strange secrets. Take the Temple 16, for example. The Mayans used to build tomb upon tomb upon tomb, like an onion, creating a larger, more majestic layer over the old building. Temple 16 is the same as it houses several important figures, but one tomb overshadows the others in importance, and that is the most inner one. This tomb houses the remains of the first Copan king, a foreigner who had come and taken over the city. The tomb, painted bright red, is hidden inside the pyramid, and underneath is the skeleton of the king, with a jade chest piece, a ring, earrings, and even jade-decorated teeth accompanying it. That is a lot of treasure for the time. While these finds are incredible on their own, archaeologists were not sure whose tomb it was when they found it. It was only until a carving was unearthed on the tomb that it was revealed to be the first king of Copan. Scientists found a statue like no other in the state of Yucatan. Workers were doing some excavation work when they came across this thing. According to archaeologists, this is a statue of a warrior. But one thing you may notice is the missing parts. It has no head, hands, feet, or lower legs. Turns out the statue was built without a head intentionally. That's because it represents a warrior prisoner with its head decapitated. Archaeologists believe this statue was used by the Mayans as an offering to the gods they believed in. That's because it was found near a stairway adorned with hieroglyphics. Still, there is a lot of mystery regarding the statue yet, since archaeologists are not even sure if it is really a male. LiDAR technology has been revolutionary in the world of archaeology, and what this technology revealed in Guatemala is insane. When scientists mounted a LiDAR machine on a chopper and scanned the horizon, lo and behold, they found not 1, not 2, but over 1,000 settlements spanning nearly 2,100 square miles. They found whole cities buried underneath the forest, just waiting to be dug up. What secrets do they hide? Only time will tell. One thing is for certain, the Mayans were way more advanced than scientists believed. They had so many city-states with complex irrigation systems to support agriculture, walls, ramparts, terraces, and fortresses for defense and offense during wars, and a complex culture and way of living. Some experts are saying the Mayan civilization was on the level of ancient Greece and China in terms of development and complexity. When scientists have dug it all up, we will have many more Mayan monuments to marvel at. I just can't wait for it. But that is not all the archaeologists found in their search. The LiDAR scans also revealed a net of superhighways connecting the Mayan settlements. You heard that right. Ancient Mayans had superhighways. Some of these roads are 160 feet wide at some point, raised up to 16 feet above the ground. How insane is that? And it is not just a few of these either. The scans show a network of roads spanning a total of 110 miles. And that is just in this area. Who knows what else hides in the other suspected Mayan sites? And not just highways. The scans also revealed canals, dams, courts for ball games, and even mines dotting the horizon. Just how advanced were these guys really? Well, here is a fun fact. All these settlements are from way before the Mayans built their largest cities. And just to compare, let me show you what they built at the peak of their power, Tikal. Tikal was among the largest and most important cities in ancient Maya, and even today it is a marvel to behold. Tikal held a lot of political and economic significance back when the Mayans were at their peak. While it started out as a village, it was developed by the Mayans into a multi-complex masterpiece. According to archaeologists, this place housed anywhere from 10,000 to 50,000 people at a time. There are thousands of structures buried in the Tikal site, but only a few of them have been uncovered as of yet. Among the temples that have been uncovered are the Temple of the Great Jaguar, Temple of the Mask, Temple of the Jaguar Priest, and Temple of the Inscriptions. Each one is a significant historic find showcasing the Mayan civilization's culture and history. On top of that, archaeologists have found tons of tombs on this site, many holding the bodies of very important Mayan rulers. It's a treasure trove of information, and beautiful to boot. Who wouldn't want to visit? Up next, I am going to tell you about a very unique Mayan ruin that archaeologists recently discovered. Mayans are famous for their stepped pyramids. It's kind of like their icon at this point. And this is where the whole practice started. This is the oldest known tomb that had a pyramid built on top of it, found to date. This is the tomb of King Kutchman, a king who ruled during 700 BC and who set many precedents that later kings would follow. He started the trend of building pyramids and carving sculptures that profiled royal families. Inside the tomb, archaeologists found a lot of riches. There were jade jewels, like necklaces, earrings, and a vulture carving. Several ceramic dolls were also found alongside the body, likely as an offering. And of course, the tomb had the body of the king inside. It is a fascinating discovery that shows how the Mayan culture developed over time. While pyramid burials were part of Mayan culture, I bet you did not know about this next Mayan ritual, which is also a sport. Mayans were brutal, and the one sport they are famous for also happens to be a bloody event. Mayans like to play a ball game where two teams competed to pass a ball through a hoop-like structure to the other team and hopefully get them to drop it to the ground, making them lose. The ball courts and hoops can still be found on Mayan sites. This sport was not just a game, it held religious significance too for the Mayans. So naturally, human sacrifices were a thing even in these games. Now, who exactly was sacrificed is a question up for debate. One theory is that the losing team was sacrificed. Talk about putting the stakes high for a ball game. Other experts say that most likely captured enemy kings and nobles were sacrificed at these games. A third theory is that the captain of the winning team was sacrificed, and it was a great honor to be sacrificed this way. I am not sure I agree though. If you are wondering how these sacrifices took place, the answer is most likely decapitation and disembowelment. That must really set the mood for the game. But what if I told you there was another weird element to this sport? The balls used by the Mayans in their sport were not like your average soccer ball. These things could end up several times the size of your average soccer ball. On top of that, they were made entirely of rubber, making them really hard. But here is the weird part. When exploring a recently found crypt, scientists found 400 urns with a mixture of human ashes, coal, rubber, and plant roots inside them. Yup, human ashes were an ingredient in the making of these balls. And not just any normal human, they used noble and royal corpses for the purpose. This was done probably as a way to convert the dead into a life force that could be interacted with by the people. At least that's the theory, so who knows? Weird how Mayans were obsessed with human sacrifices and using human remains creatively. Mayans may not have a great image with all the human sacrifices and stuff, but trust me, these people were super advanced. And just to give you an example, let me show you this building. It is insane how people thousands of years ago built something like this. This observatory was used by the Mayans to study the stars. They were particularly interested in the movement of Venus, since to the Mayans, Venus was the twin of the sun. They also considered it to be the god of war, and so its movement dictated wars. The Mayans used this observatory to watch Venus and plan their raids according to its movement. Even the stairs of the observatory line up with the northern extremes of Venus. I am beginning to think Mayans thought of nothing other than war. But how about I show you a civilization even more brutal than the Mayans? Meet the Aztecs. The Aztecs were even more brutal than the Mayans, and this tower is the perfect example of that. Found in Mexico, this tower is made entirely of skulls. While most of them are of men, there are several skulls in there of women and children. The mounting method of the skulls is wild too, since the Aztecs would make 2 holes through the cranium and then put a wooden rod through them. Kind of like making a necklace. Only more gruesome. To date, 600 skulls have been found in this tower, with more being discovered. If that is not scary enough, during the time of the Aztecs, there used to be 7 such towers standing tall. There were thousands of such skulls placed up high on these towers. To the Aztecs, these towers were a way to keep their gods alive so the universe doesn't get destroyed. To me, they just look plain terrifying. Next, we have an Aztec temple that was found by accident. Workers were digging up a car park when they came across the floor stones of this temple. Thankfully, they stopped in time, and nothing was damaged. This temple was dedicated to a serpent god of the Aztecs. While the temple is interesting enough with snakes used in nearly every design choice of the place, there is one terrifying thing archaeologists found here. You guessed it, human sacrifices. A total of 32 human sacrifices were found near the ball court of the temple. I don't know about you, but that is a large number in my books. This next tomb holds a very interesting secret. Found in Zunantunich in Belize, this Mayan tomb holds the body of a king. What sets this tomb apart is its size, since it is the largest Mayan tomb found in Belize. Inside was the body of the male king, adorned with ceramics, obsidian blades, jade beads, and carvings made out of valuable materials. Like every other Mayan royal tomb, this one too had sacrifices only not human. Instead, jaguar and deer bones were found inside. Here comes the interesting part. Archaeologists believe this tomb is related to the mysterious snake kings of ancient Maya. The snake kings ruled a huge portion of the Mayan civilizations, but knowledge about them is hard to come by, especially their tombs. That makes this tomb a rare insight into the rule of the elusive snake kings. This next tomb is not as fancy. Found in the archaeological site of Tonina, this tomb has a stone sarcophagus. It looks pretty plain, but experts believe there is a good reason for that. This tomb dates back to the time when the Mayan civilization was in decline, settlements were vanishing, and Mayans stopped making sculptures and inscriptions on their tombs. Why did the Mayan civilization have such a downfall? No one knows. Perhaps tombs like this one can solve that mystery for us. Lastly, here is what it looks like when a Mayan tomb is first unearthed. The scientists first put a camera through like this to find out exactly what is inside. What an interesting job these people have. And that does it for this video. Which one of these Mayan finds was your favorite? Did you get to learn something? Or is there a Mayan fact you want to share with me? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to know your thoughts. While you are at it, be sure to like the video and share it if you enjoyed watching it. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring that bell icon to be notified of our future uploads. We have a lot more fun content planned for you, so don't miss out. Until next time, goodbye.